Rajim, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, Assalamu alaikum, Jiayanu, Pakhaira Gale, Ni Hao, Chunishume, Washmale, Ohaya Gonzaimas, Guten Morgen, Ola, Boyo, Privyet, Kaifahal, Halishuma Chatore, Ahlan Wasal, Marhaba, Buna, Mucho Gracias, Fabi, Balli Kareaya, Hoj Gadan and Avasai, Huya Morachi, Vatochi, Haljot, Kali Mera Khairutan, and a very warm welcome to everybody who's tuned into PTV World and watching World this morning. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm really lucky that I've been joined by my very well-learned colleague who happens to be Ms. Hajar Satti. I happen to be Shahzad Hassan Khan, and we hope and pray that everybody out there is doing wonderfully well and that you're ready to kickstart your day with us. But first things first, hello Hajar, Assalamu alaikum, how are you feeling today?
Walaikum assalam, thank you so much Jazakallah khair for introducing me. Today happens to be 30th of September and it's a very fine pleasant morning in Islamabad, and weather is actually very confusing because in the mornings it's very hot and in the evening it's very cold. So you know we are constantly fluctuating between what to wear. Should we wear some tropical sort of the fabric, or should we wear some fabric which is more conducive to the colder environment?
Or whether to get the razai out or not, whether to get the Kumbal out or not,
or whether to turn on the AC or not, whether to turn on the fan or not, because if you turn on the AC you get the flu. If you don't turn it on, you know, it's very sweaty sort of a atmosphere. But without further ado, we would like to celebrate the World Translation Day, because today happens to be 30th of September, and International Translation Day is meant as an opportunity to pay tribute to the work of language professionals, which plays an important role in bringing nations together, facilitating dialogue, understanding and cooperation, contributing towards the development and strengthening the world peace and security. Transposition of the literary or scientific work, including technical work, from one language to another. Professional translation, including translation paper, is indispensable to preserving the quality, clarity and positive climate. And I think, Shahzad, when we talk about the translations, I do feel the entire essence when we translate from one language to another language is somehow lost in that process. But I think that we are somehow able to grasp somehow the concept of that, and I think that's an amazing thing to have.
Exactly. So, you know, it's just like the way that, you know, when you actually read a book probably which wasn't in this language earlier, you know, you certainly kind of miss out on that essence, and that's what Hajra actually rightfully pointed out as well. But while we are at books, I think we need to talk about all of those people who've actually been making sure that their names will become a part of the book as well. So
and they're Pakistani, right?
Yes. So a lot of Pakistanis have been making us proud lately. Obviously, Arshad Nadeem, and now here's Faraz Manan, who happens to be a designer. And imagine, Pakistani designer Faraz Manan earns coveted spot on Business Fashion 500 list. Business Fashion magazine list acknowledges most influential people in global fashion industry. Manan has styled Bollywood A-listers such as Kareena Kapoor, Deepika Padukone and Alia Bhatt. Prominent Pakistani designer Faraz Manan, congratulations to you. You've done a good job, and yeah, make sure that, you know, you keep on making us proud.
And speaking of paying tribute, I think we also need to pay tribute to one of my beloved actresses, because I grew up reading Harry Potter's, watching Harry Potter's, and that is Dame Maggie Smith, who passed away 2 days ago, and we will surely miss her absence in our lives, because she was someone who brought the role of Professor McGonagall to the life through her stellar performances. She was not just a part of the Harry Potter series, she had a lot of amazing roles to her name, and one of was the very famous one, and the most recent one was also in the Downton Abbey, in which she portrayed an elite class in a very aristocratic British era, the hierarchies which she portrayed, and which you can also see on your screens. And it is something that will always remain very close to my heart and very close to our heart. And she was battling with the cancer for quite some time, and she peacefully passed away aged 89.
Exactly, and obviously, you know, the king himself and, you know, the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, ladies and gentlemen, paid rich tributes to her as well. I think we could talk quite a lot about her as well, but I think at this point of time, what we really need to do is that we need to pay rich tribute to all of these amazing students who are here, and not just that, I think their teacher, because now imagine that every time that we were on the streets and we would see children coming and probably begging for money, there was this lady who actually stood up for them. She thought that, okay, you know, I've been a teacher for 20 years now. Let me do something that I will actually volunteer to make sure that I'm going to educate other children who cannot afford to be in schools. Ladies and gentlemen, such is the example of Asma Homes as well. And we're very lucky that we have been joined by the founder of Asma Homes over here. who actually happens to be none other than Miss Asma. Assalamu alaikum, good morning. How are you feeling today?
Walaikum assalam. What energy. I'm totally enjoying this morning greeting.
Thank you so much.
Likewise.
Likewise. Thank you so much for joining. It's wonderful to have you over here alongside her, ladies and gentlemen. 3 of her students who she picked up when they were at the age of 5, not just from Punjab, but from KP, from Balochistan, from elsewhere. She made sure that she's going to bring them to her school, you know, give them that quality education, which is the requirement of the day. Not just that, all of these students just graduated from O-levels with A stars and A's only.
Wonderful,
Why don't you
wonderful.
do the honors?
So I had the honor of introducing these bright young buds who are gracing us in the studio. I'm very glad that we have been joined by Muhammad Arsalan. He happens to be a student. Assalamu alaikum Arsalan, and thank you so much for coming to our show.
Walaikum salam, ma'am. Thank you for such a beautiful introduction.
Wow.
You truly deserve that. And joining Arsalan, I'm very glad that we have been joined by Sayyid Nadeem Ali. Assalamu alaikum Nadeem, and thank you so much for coming to our show.
Walaikum salam.
Sange khairam barabar.
Barabar.
Takde. Mata sara mina kum de pira.
That's wonderful, and we are really enjoying the beautiful energy that these kids are giving to us. And lastly, we have also been, we have the honor of Muhammad Tayyib joining us. Assalamu alaikum Tayyib, and thank you so much for coming to our show.
Walaikum assalam.
So wonderful to have you guys over here. Obviously, it's wonderful to see you guys prosper and, you know, getting quality education. We'll come to you, but let us just very quickly move on to Miss Asma and then ask, you know, Madam Asma, please share a brief story about or the history of Asma Homes.
All right. So Shehzad, as you were mentioning, you know, this designer making a mark in the world, you yourself sitting here with this immense energy, you know, meeting new people every day and transmitting positive vibes. So I think we're all blessed with these unique talents, right? And the potential as well. So I think the challenge for all of us is to recognize that potential and maximize it, and also share our divine gifts with those around us. So that is the story that came up with me, you know, getting these kids on board in my school. And
but Miss Asma, thank you so much, because you were pointing out towards your divine calling or inner calling, and I would like to call it, right? So how did you think, because you have been serving in the education system and it has been more than 2 decades since you were invested in this field. So how did this come to fruition? I mean, and then venturing from the education towards making sure that these kids are catered to, and I think this is a very noble task to invest in the education, because you reap a longer term benefits, right? And how did it all happen? And number one, tell us how many students are there in your homes or in your schools or shelter homes, or how would you like to call it? And what is like, are they diverse sort of a group, and how did you select them to be in your school?
So basically, I've been a teacher, as you said, more than 3 decades. That is.
School aapne 2 decades ke baad khola na.
Yeah, but you know, this was like, as you said, the inner calling. We all have that, you know, we reach that point in life where we ask ourselves, so is this it? You know, is this it for me? So there was a point that I reached and I said, is this it? Is this what I'm going to do? Just teach. I was loving it, you know, I think I'm a born teacher. But, you know, walking out from the schools where I was teaching privileged children with a comfortable background, you know, coming from comfortable background and having all the basic necessities, out into the streets or the roads where the children are, you know, wiping your windscreens and selling flowers and barefoot, or you know, out of school children. There are 26 million kids out of school. And if you think about all these children who are out of school, think about the future of Pakistan. These 26 million people growing up to be people with no purpose in life. So obviously there's going to be criminality, there's going to be a lot of chaos.
Menaces in the society.
Yeah, and injustice as well, because, you know, these people would want to have the facilities that we avail, that we benefit from. And you and I, we've come, you know, from a background where we're really blessed. And I remember my father never compromised on our education, basic schooling. And he would say, you know, like the foundation is actually laid in those school years. So you need to go to the best schools. But think about all the children who do not have that kind of guidance or the support to get to an institution where they get the guidance or the mentoring. So I think the contrasting situation, because I've always been a very good observing person, you know, I've just been looking around. So I thought that, you know, if I wait for the government to take all these steps, it's going to take a lifetime, because we don't know when or how it's going to happen. And if I can use my skills, you know, I was enjoying being a teacher and I was doing a pretty okay job. So I thought, you know, despite having a job, I still had time on my hands.
And you did a wonderful job, which is why, you know, I'm going to move on to Arslan over here. So Arslan, first of all, I would want you to introduce yourself with our audiences. We go out in 46, 47 different countries. Tell them where you come from, what were your grades in O levels, and we'll move further with that, please.
So my name is Arslan, and I'm from Jung, and I'm from amidst a village in Chak number 261. So I was
Chak number 261.
Yes,
Yeah.
So I was 5 years old when I came to Amasma, and basically my father always wanted me to study, but he couldn't because he was uneducated, and my mother passed away when I was 3 years old.
And what was your father doing at that time?
My father is a laborer.
Okay. Yeah, so
And he could only earn 30,000 or 20,000 at that time.
All
so
right.
it's not enough to fulfill an education. So basically what happened that my uncle got to know about this school in Islamabad that ma'am was running at that time. So he called my father and told him that you can send this your child to this school. And then, to cut the long story short, it was just that I came here.
So you came, yeah, that's wonderful.
Very
You know, so you came from
confident,
Jung, obviously, you're very confident. You know, so when you came from Jung, obviously, उस time तो तू पंजाबी बोलता होना ना. थोड़ी सी ज़रा मेरे ना पंजाबी भी गाल कर लेना, ऐसे अंग्रेजी करने हैं, पंजाबी भी थोड़ी सी गाल कर.
Yes, I remember the story when I came to this home. So I used to speak Punjabi. So I said that.
Speak Punjabi, na please. Speak
So I
with
said
us.
that Jandra kithe hai? So
And I couldn't understand what he was saying. I
Yeah.
did not know this kind of Punjabi
Yeah.
at all.
So
Jandra
then
kithe hai?
everybody was confused, and they said, "What is Jandra?" So then I told them, I just pointed out that lock that is Jandra.
Jandra kithe hai? Wow,
And that's a beautiful story, and I
And
think
result of O levels as well. What's your result of O
My
levels?
result is 5 A stars, 2 A's.
Wow, yeah, I mean,
That's wonderful.
that's a magnificent job.
that's
Yeah.
wonderful. Now moving on to
Nadeem.
next student, Nadeem. So please introduce yourself, like Shahzad mentioned, and tell us your story. You know, how did you come here, and you know, again, your results, and what do you aspire to be when you
Barobar ka,
graduate?
Dera banana.
My name is Sayyid Nadeem Ali Shah, and I came from KPK Batagram, and my father is a special person. He has a back problem, but he's very dedicated that I study, but he couldn't afford education. So
Okay.
my uncle also got to know about this place. So he told my father that if you want your child to get an education, there's a ma'am running this institute. So I got
You guys came over here,
yeah,
met Ma'am Asma, so she's more like a mother, obviously.
Yes.
Yeah.
a
You know, so
spiritual
whenever
man.
we talk about teachers, obviously they are spiritual parents, alhamdulillah. You know, there's one more interesting bit that I would love to discuss. Obviously, your uncle came to know about it. What about your siblings? Does your other siblings go to school, or now do you volunteer for their education?
No, my brothers and sisters, they go to schools in the place they
Well,
live.
but they're
the
going to
government,
schools,
yeah,
right?
Yes.
So now when you go and are with your siblings, do you speak English now, or do you
Yeah,
speak Pashto? What do you do?
We mostly we speak Pashto, but sometimes in simple things
Alright.
we say.
And
what
when
do
you
what do you aspire to be when
Yeah.
you pass out, or I don't know, graduate, or how will you put it?
I want to become an engineer, but I am currently studying physics and maths, so I
Wow.
want to
Oh, I
Are you
never
good in
wanted-
it?
yes,
He wants to get into AI.
AI as well.
Artificial intelligence, that's wonderful. So imagine when you came to Ma'am Asma, how were you talking? You know, please go ahead.
Yeah,
We
I
need those examples as well.
was of course Pashto speaking, so I used to
Yeah, go ahead, whatever
Yeah,
you
yeah,
used
say
to
it. Say a couple of
Yeah.
sentences.
that was kaun se de.
What do we mean by that? What do we mean by that?
It means that what kind of place is this? And
Yeah?
we used to cry a lot because when the first time I came my father, I was crying for my father, and but
But you couldn't find it,
Yes.
yeah. And what's your result in O levels?
I've got 3 A stars and 5 A's.
Wow, yeah, wow. Yeah.
Sorry.
I think you
Also,
guys-
Subjects
Shahzad,
there,
I'd
so-
like to talk about his brother also. He's also with us. Both the brothers came together, the
Mashallah.
eldest amongst the siblings. He's also a high achiever. He's also done O levels, but of course we couldn't have so many kids over here. So they're all my first batch. And since they had come from the village Batagram, the father wanted them to be educated. He's actually handicapped. So once they were in the school, they gained so much confidence that, you know, the father moved the entire family to Islamabad. And now he's put all of the little ones also into school.
That's
और पठानों के बच्चे तो, you know, like प्यारे और ज़्यादा.
Yeah, but I think Tayyib has always already been anticipating that it's going to be my turn now, so he's preparing it already. So Tayyib, please go ahead, let us know, you know, where you come from and how was it to study at Asma Homes.
Yes, my name is Tayyib first of all, and I've been here since 12 years almost.
Louder.
I've
khol ke bolna.
Yes.
Chal aaja, shabash.
I was 5 years old when I came here. My cousin, he knew Ma'am Asma, so I came through his reference. So when I used to come here, I used to cry because of homesickness. That's natural. But
you still cry?
No, now I don't.
Because
now,
you're somebody?
Yes, now I know how I am different from the children back there.
Okay, wow, that's
yes,
wonderful.
And what was your score in your recent examination? What do you aspire to be when you graduate?
I see myself as a computer scientist.
Okay, wow, that's wonderful.
And how many grades did you get?
I got 2 A's and 5 B's.
Wow, I think these are such an amazing kids here. They're so much confident, and I think all the hats off and tribute to Ms. Asma. So Ms. Asma, you are particularly focusing on the Cambridge system.
Yes.
And can we ask, you know, why is there a focus on the Cambridge system? Why not like metric, FSC?
And it's expensive anyways. You
know, it is expensive. I mean, these kids are very fortunate to be getting that support. I've been a Cambridge teacher for quite a long time. That is true. That is true. But you know the difference. Right? I mean, I wish everybody could get access to such quality education. Quality education is not about, you know, just getting information from the textbooks. It's about learning for life. Right? Learning those skills, the confidence, and, you know, like building yourself up for the future. So I was a Cambridge teacher, and I had to, like we were talking about justice, I had to do justice. How could I want Cambridge education for my own kids and not the same kind of education for these kids that I was raising? So and you know, it's actually a mutual effort, because I had this vision, I had a dream, and I knew that these kids had the potential to do it. And they were able to give back.
And Ms. Asma, obviously you talked about we cannot wait for, you know, state to intervene in that, and that creates a lot of space, you know, where civil society activists and people who want to philanthropists and all of these people who can come in and bridge the gap in that space, right? And you're one of that actor. So tell us about, you know, sustainable models, because you talked about it's not easier and it's not very, you know, easy on the pocket in the first place to have this sort of an education. So how do you sustain them, and what is your, like, you know, future prospects about these kids?
Okay, so I think it was an experiment. I would say it, a very successful experiment. Just look at them. It's not just the grades, it's not the information or the knowledge that they've attained, the amount of confidence they have, and they have really respected the opportunity that had come their way. So my friends and the people who were giving me the support knew what I was doing. You know, I was not playing games there. This was serious business. Like my mother says, "Tumne apne aap ko andhe kuएं में डाल दिया." You know, it's not easy, because there's so much resistance on part of the parents, of families. The parents want the kids to be earning members of the family. They want them to be independent as soon as possible in that way, so they could bring in money. So I think this has been a model, a successful model. Definitely, I could only do this much.
But Ms. Asma, I would ask you one question, and that really clicked me, and I'm sorry for interjecting here, is that these kids are from certain background, right? And you're teaching them English, imparting them a lot of confidence, other social skills, and giving them a respectable life, an opportunity to climb higher in the society, right? But what about their integration back into their societies or with their families? Do you think the kind of confidence that they have gained, or for example, let's talk about the language barrier, right, that is coming in. Do you think that they will be better able to integrate with this, or how do they, I mean, manage to get it level up with their families back out?
I think that's a very good question. First of all, I think we all know that a child is capable of learning 3 languages minimum, gain fluency. So they already knew their own mother tongue and they still know it. It's not that I've taken that away from them. Reading has helped them acquire the other two languages as well, Urdu and English. English I focused more because I was an English teacher and I thought that is a gateway to a world of possibilities, right? We all know that. You're sitting here, you've been fortunate enough. I'm sitting here, I got the opportunities. So why not give these to them?
If we didn't know how to speak English, we wouldn't have been here.
Yeah, exactly. So another thing is that yes, the point about blending in, I think these kids have become a source of inspiration for the others.
True.
They are the ambassadors, you know, they go back home and people look at their etiquettes. It's not just what they know. They don't know what they've learned in physics, maths or chemistry.
Though they've done
Thank God a teacher saying that you know, you won't remember that. You know,
yeah, because you know, even when I used to teach in my own class, I would teach them empathy because I'm an English teacher and we would come across so many excerpts and we would look at the content and we would discuss ideas, and that is how empathy was developed amongst the children. And I'm so lucky that I've had my own students volunteer at my institute and come and teach their O and A-level students. Wow. So imagine the way of giving back to the society. That's wonderful. I think the younger people have been more considerate and more responsible towards, you know, contributing.
And I think that's what Arsalan wanted to add as well. Arsalan,
I also want Arsalan to talk about your question, Hajra, that why choose Cambridge education. I think they have actually studied that model, so I would want them to talk about it.
Sure,
right?
go ahead.
Yeah.
The first concept of MAMASMA, I think, is that we need to broaden our horizons. We do not need to think about that rote learning that we have just left it years ago. So we need to step up ahead and then increase our creativity, and then we need to impose critical thinking in our minds, and so that we do not just remember a topic and then do not apply in our lives. In O-levels, in any subject we take, we just take that concept and apply in our life, so that we know what actually learning is. And secondly, O-levels is not only about education, it's not only about learning, but it's about building yourselves, increasing your skills, and that's what I think is the main.
And we are super proud of you all as well that you've taken advantage of this opportunity. But I believe that today, obviously, while we are drawing inspiration from you, we need to draw inspiration from MAMASMA as well. So thank you so much to you, to your friends, you know, for all of those people who've collaborated over the years, made sure that they're going to be that pillar and support your family, your parents, you know, if they're out there. I think that you've gotten a blessing in disguise, and I think that the kind of work that she's doing, she's going to take all of us to Jannah. Yeah, she'll be like,
and I think just adding a last bit of the conversation, and it's like, you know, when we were growing up, and I've seen a lot of my khalas, then they were educated in the convents, and in that schooling system, it was not just imparting of education, it was also the grooming that was imparted, the etiquettes, the skills that was imparted. And after a long time, I feel really proud to share this stage with someone who is doing the same and following the exactly same pattern. And thank you so much. Hats off to you.
Thank you.
Huge tribute to you. I'm really impressed by these kids and the way you're working. And with that, we will once again thank you to all of our guests here, and we will take a short break. After we come back, it's a very interesting conversation going on, because dil ki baatein hain, right? So don't go anywhere. Right.
Thank you
so
much.
much. Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Thank you so much for staying tuned. And where Hajra actually pointed our direction, that, you know, dil ki baat or dil ko baat acha laga. Ladies and gentlemen, it's all about heart health that we are going to discuss now. We're very lucky that we've actually been joined by one of the best over here when we talk about the consultant intervention cardiologist, we're very lucky that we'll be joined by Professor Dr. Naeem Malik Sahab as well. Assalamu alaikum, sir. Good morning. How are you?
Ji, walaikum salam. Thank you very much. Thanks for the invitation.
Thank you so much, sir, for joining us. अब आपने break में तो ऐसी बात मुझे कर दी. मैं नहीं सवाल पूछूंगा, आज ना पूछूंगी.
It's an absolute pleasure, Dr. Saab, having you here. So when we talk about Dil Ki Baat Hai, when we talk about cardiovascular diseases, please tell us, it's on the rise. What are we doing in our lifestyle which is wrong, which is contributing towards these cardiovascular diseases?
Well, thank you very much for taking up this topic. It's a very important topic that the heart disease is on the rise in Pakistan, and it's a very unfortunate scenario. In fact, we are doing everything wrong to cause the rise in the incidence of coronary artery disease, ischemic heart disease in Pakistan.
Right.
Look at our diets. It's really enriched. We are very fond of eating meat, mutton, beef, and fried food. And this food panda has really caused a disaster.
Okay.
It's really providing to our kids refined food made of everything refined.
Right.
So please, you have to stop all this. And then smoking is unfortunately is on the rise in Pakistan, which we should have curtailed. We should have been able to, if not stop, then at least we should have been able to decrease the.
So it's gone too expensive now. A pack which probably some years back we used to buy for 300 rupees is for 1,000 rupees now.
Sir, no matter, the price goes up and so goes the smoking.
And I think the form has also changed, from the cigarettes to e-cigarettes, and now there's another vaping and velo and whatnot. So, sir, now let's also talk about the cardiovascular diseases, because in our childhood we used to hear that older people are more vulnerable to these conditions. But yes, and now we are witnessing that younger people, from age of 25 to 40, they're also getting very vulnerable. They're having heart attacks. So, in such a young age, what is it our genes which is contributing to that? Are the external factors which are contributing to that? Why is there a rise in the cardiovascular diseases amongst the younger population in Pakistan?
Well, the risk factors of coronary artery disease are of two types: modifiable and non-modifiable.
Okay.
Non-modifiable, we talk about, you just mentioned about the genes. Genes we cannot modify. You cannot choose your parents.
True.
And then you can't change your sex.
Yeah.
The males are more prone to have coronary artery disease at early age.
And is there any particular reason behind it?
In fact, the females have certain hormones which keep them protected from the development of the coronary artery disease. Estrogens especially.
Right.
And when they go into menopause, the incidence gets equal. It becomes equal in both the sexes.
Okay.
When we talk about the modifiable risk factors, the place where we can
play a role.
Play a key role in there are few things, very important things. Just we mentioned about the lifestyle. We are not really fond of walking. We like to go to masjid to pray on the bikes as well as on the cars. We have to walk.
True.
Look at Islamabad. The government has provided us with beautiful parks.
True.
But most of the times they are empty, especially in the mornings when we are supposed to go there and do walks. But unfortunately, very few people are walking there. And then smoking is on the rise in Pakistan. Then diabetes is spreading like anything.
True. It's on number one these days.
Yes, Pakistan is number one in the spread of diabetes. At the moment, 11 million people of Pakistan, they are diabetic. But in the next 5-10 years, the number is horribly going to rise up.
And sir, in addition to this, where we are speaking about in which areas we can modify, there are a couple of places where we do believe that, that the medicine practice can actually help as well. Now imagine I've got multiple examples within my family. My papa went to, a clinic, probably a hospital, saying that, that he's not feeling well. The gentleman said, oh, probably you've got gas, sent him back. He had a heart attack. He passed away, right at the moment. Don't you think that we really want some more vigilant teams to be out there who actually make sure that whenever a patient comes in, that, he or she is being checked thoroughly rather than just guessing it, that, sir, aapko gas hui, aap wapas chale jaye.
You are absolutely right. Our medical, the doctors, they need to be more vigilant and more trained about diagnosing the patients who are suffering from heart attack.
Yes.
Many people, it's said that about 15% of the patients who are having first heart attack, they die on the spot without getting any first aid. And partly there is a role of misdiagnosis in that also. So we need to train our doctors. That's why we are, in my tenure as head of the department, I trained more than 100 cardiologists, more than 100, and passing ratio of these doctors was very high. Hardly there is anybody left who was trained in my tenure in Pakistan Institute of Medical Sciences.
And Dr. Saab, so how can we empower individuals to lead a more healthier lifestyle that do not conflict with these cardiovascular diseases? What do you suggest? For example, as a cardiologist, what would you recommend to someone out there who is more vulnerable to these heart diseases? Should have a more healthier lifestyle. So walk us through a routine. You know, for
some superfoods, some nutrients.
And you talked about the lack of mobility nowadays that we are having. So, for example, we are more prone to go to vehicles and use vehicles for even a shorter like distances, right? So, what would you recommend? So, how much should we walk, and what should be the time duration, and in a week, you know, how many days? Please go ahead and recommend us.
Well, let's briefly talk about this World Heart Day.
Sir.
The World Heart Day,
yesterday,
World Heart Federation, it started celebrating this day in 2000, and every year there is a theme of this World Heart Day, and from 2024 to 2026, the theme is Use Heart for Action.
Right.
The theme explains itself. What does it want? Number one is to create more awareness among the masses. People are not really aware of their inside, what's developing in their hearts, in their bodies.
Yes.
Walking is very, very important. Medically speaking, you need to walk 150 minutes for a moderate exercise weekly.
Okay.
And if you are more vigilant, if you are more really committed, then you can do 75 minutes of vigorous exercise weekly, and that would be enough for you.
Okay.
That's it, you know, because these days, sir, you know, we have been counting calories and calorie deficit and intermittent fasting and whatnot. I mean, it has gone really tricky.
Well, it's good.
Yeah.
But I think we need not to be crazy.
And thank you so much for saying that, because, you know, I do know that, you know, I've been very crazy at the gym, and unfortunately I've underwent 2 backbone surgeries for that matter. You certainly really need to kind of listen to what Dr. Saab is saying. Dr. Saab, one more issue which I would want to address over here very quickly, and that is, now imagine that how people do not have this confidence over going to a cardiovascular, you know, surgeon or doctor, because they think that, you know, even without an ECG, they are going to get a stent fit in. You know, now imagine that, you know, there was this example where this video went viral. This gentleman was taken to a hospital in KPK, where the gentleman wasn't even, you know, did undergo any ECG or any such testing, and then he was provided with 2 stunts because the doctor said that, hey, you know what, this was declined. But not even stunts, you know, I think it was this injection which they charged 400,000 rupees, and the gentleman passed away right at the moment. Now imagine, how do you think that, you know, that we put it in place? Now, for example, if my father needs a stunt and he goes to a doctor, he does not know whether he needs it or not. It's the doctor who's actually doing that treatment and will eventually end up giving him a stent, because there's a lot of money involved.
And Dr. Saab, clubbing my question which is asked because of the paucity of the time, how can we make the cardiovascular health services, healthcare services more accessible to people, especially to the vulnerable people, destitute people who do not have access to it?
And more transparent.
Yes.
Yes. Replying to your question, that comes in the malpractice, obviously, and that is a crime.
Yes.
That is a crime in the medical books. The patient should be, the doctor should be taken to task.
But it's happening, sir.
Yes, it is happening.
So
I also know a few examples, such examples. So it should not happen.
True.
Really, you know, there are black sheep in every profession.
Of course, there are.
And you have to point them out and take them to task.
Exactly.
Always go to a renowned hospital, renowned place where you can be properly diagnosed and properly. And if there is a certain amount of doubt, then go to another doctor.
All right.
Please be sure that you are not suffering from heart attack. And increasing health services, I think we are having more cath labs all over Pakistan, more and more cath labs. And this government has started this health program of solar program. It has really provided a lot of health services to masses, to people who could not afford the prices of stents and heart surgery. They are being provided free cost cardiac surgery as well as stenting.
Wow.
So I think we are on the right line.
I think it's wonderful. Thank you so much, Professor Saab, for being with us. Lovely to be in conversation with you. It was short, it was brief, but ladies and gentlemen, it was worth listening to. So for everybody, first of all, it's you who's responsible for your heart health. Number two, ladies and gentlemen, please make sure that whenever you go to a doctor, you really need to make sure, as Dr. Saab mentioned, that you're not having a heart attack and then take a decision, because people will come running. When the black sheep is operating, people will come running. Sir, unki do wall band hai, kya karna hai? You know, so obviously you have no choice then. You know, so you really need to be on your feet. You really need to think wise, make sure that, okay, you can manage that. Taking decision at that very moment is the thing that can actually save you, or God forbid, can make you lose your life as well. So I think make sure that you take the right decision.
Right, and with that we are winding up our segment. Thank you so much once again, Dr. Saab, for coming here. And with that we are winding up our segment. Until next time, it's a goodbye, Allah Hafiz, and good morning.
Good morning. Have a great day. Thank you so much.